beautiful. I'm so late today. Life happens. You know, it takes longer when it's raining because I have to put the wet weather gear on, then you have to put the wet weather gear off, and that takes time. And I had the weirdest night. It's like my pineal gland was awake and I was seeing all this stuff, and it was really gorgeous. It was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Can we do this another time? No, we're busy. So I did not get much sleep. So, Nora, good morning, lovely. So we have rocks today, of course, and this is an interesting little one. Carmelina, beautiful to see you. This is something that I put into a little whatnot, you know, I did the ribbons. And this is the matrix that kyanite grows in. G'day, Andrea, gorgeous to see you. Amy, whee, here we are all together again. So, and the funniest thing about this is that I strung it up just because I wanted to. And if I let it swing... Julian, good morning. Hopefully you can see. Right, anything that you stick on a string swings, right? It's not hard. But the interesting thing about this one, I don't know if it's going to do it today, is that it doesn't actually swing in a circle. It does some kind of oval thing, probably because of its irregular shape. You can see that. I'm not making it do that. And it makes shapes, you know, like the pictures that you see of the electrons going around the atom. It quite often does, it swings in circles, but like that, it just keeps turning, and there you go. Keeps turning and turning and turning. It's having fun with us, I think. So anyway, I don't know why I strung it up into something so that it would swing, but today it said I'm coming on, so that's what it is. It's kyanite matrix and the ribbon I added. And there is another piece, oh look, there's a little piece of kyanite there. You see, it just grows in this rock. There's another little one there, which you can barely see. There you go. So yeah, interesting little rock. Quite fun. Pendulums should not all be perfect. They should be different so that we can have an interesting experience. Linda, Jocelyn, Jan, good morning. It has a life of its own, but don't we all? And doesn't everything? Now this is, I hope you can see the detail. This is quartz, right? But it's got this dendritic stuff growing into it. That's not on the outside, it's on the inside. And it's so transparent. Beautiful friend of mine gave this to me, and it had some fancy name and I can't remember what it was, so never mind, because it has a life and a consciousness of its own, and who really cares what name some mineralogist or whatever assigned to it? It's just glorious. So you can see that's not actually rutile in there. It's a sort of a, you know, it's got some inclusion. Let me check. Yeah, it's just how the stone is fractured inside itself. And the more you look at it, the more you see, and it's just clear, and then it's got these inclusions. You know, that's all shiny. So it's pretty fabulous. I just can't remember the fancy schmancy name that it had, but there you go. It's a face? Well, I suppose, yes. It's a nose. That immediately reminds me of the moai on Easter Island. See how the brain works with association? You look at a crystal, see a face. I see the face and it reminds me of something else. No, I don't use them during meditation, Jocelyn. I used to. But right now I'm so entranced with what happens in my own brain and in the unified field that no object is really going to help me with that. Letitia, good morning. But I love to enjoy these things because beauty and enjoyment, elevated emotions, they help us get present. They help us feel good. And elevated emotions are essential if you're going to create something new in your life. So this, you think, what is this red and black looking weird, you know, stone, right? And it's actually, it is pretty much black. You don't really figure it out until you look at the side. Jenny, good morning. So this is actually a slice of tiger's eye, which is some kind of silicated quartz. Like it's quartz that's had something else happen to it, and I haven't done the reading, so I can't tell you more than that. But you can see the red one, and you can see, yeah, it's a bit of a reflection, but it's kind of blue as well. So it all depends on what angle you use to look at it as to what you see. So that's pretty fabulous. It took me a while to realise that, you know, this is, what is it, bullseye and eagle's eye, you know, they all have fancy or you know, common names, but really it's all the same stone, and it depends how the light catches it and if it's on the grain or not as to whether it sparkles. So there you go. So today springing right out of our conversation yesterday. Tracy, you asked a question. I know you'll see this sooner or later. Because we're talking about the death of the old self. Sorry, I just saw a flashing light out there. It's a truck, with the lights on saying, I'm here. And so I'm having a moment. I'm one of those people that cannot stand having something flashing on the screen because it completely occupies my brain, and I have really good peripheral vision. So anyway, if I'm distracted, that's why. It'll stop eventually. So we were talking about, and if I shut my eyes, that's why. We were talking about the death of the old self and why that's so challenging, because biologically, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically, and energetically, and emotionally, and in every way, the old self has to die if the new self is going to come in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and I think you all do, because I remember you were all here yesterday, then, yesterday, that's what we talked about. And so Tracy asked a question. So you mean if I'm going to set goals and have visions and, set myself things to achieve or create, actually, creating's better than achieving. You didn't use the achieve word. Then if I do that as my new self, are those plans more likely to succeed? And I thought, in the fly, I said, I'll write to you later. And I thought, actually, no, I won't write. I'll do a live about that. That's a really good question. Because, it's all very well to say biologically, energetically, emotionally, chemically, genetically, everything else, self has to die. But this is very practical. You know how I love to be practical. So what do? And I really relate to that. And I had all these good ideas floating around in my head. And now, of course, I may end up talking about that. But it's probably easy for me to go back into my past, right? So before, when I wanted to create a business, all I knew, and all of my neurological hardware and all of my chemistry really was about the fact that there was a path that you followed as an entrepreneur, which meant you busted your ass for 2 years, and you worked really hard, and then it got a little bit easier. But, and if you survive the first 2 years, you'd make some money after that. But I had this idea that it was hard, and I had my programming, which said that actually, it said that rich people are kind of, because that was just, it's a long story, family history, and none of it particularly dark or bad, just attitudes, just attitudes to people who'd been successful and made money were like, they're kind of greedy and they're exploitative. It's like, well, no. And I had this whole thing about even charging for my services, which, by the way, I was doing Reiki and stuff at the time. Never TD, g'day, lovely to see you. So, and I saw somebody post about this just the other day. I've decided to charge for my service, and people are sort of complaining at me because I'm doing Reiki and energy work. It's like, you can't see it. Why are you charging for it? Buddy, if you ever try it, you'll realise that it's very tangible and it takes energy and effort. And by the way, I have to eat and pay my bills. Shut up. But it was so hard. The whole thing of pricing for me just was so difficult for a long time, until my mentor that I connected with in May 2017, was it? Sometime down the track, finally gave me the formula for pricing, which in short is, it's got to feel really good for you, and it's got to feel really good for your estimation of your client. Period. And you might think that's simplistic, but if you really dial into that, what feels really right to me, and what feels really right for the client, the audience that I'm working with, what they can afford, what they need to give me so there's a fair exchange, there's a lot in pricing. If anybody's desperate for an exposition on that, well then drop a comment and maybe we'll go there. So, point is, I had a lot of mental garbage and redundant programs and ideas and emotions about being in business and making money. God. And so whatever goals I set were set from that perspective. It's going to be difficult to make money. People don't actually want to pay me. They want everything for free. Oh my God, it was almost like a freaking mantra. People love what I'm doing as long as they don't have to pay me for it. And I felt quite a lot of resentment about that. And a lot of this is just how it is. So every time I fired that thought, that was a signal I sent to the universe. That was what I believed. That was the resentment I felt. Hell, that was what I had. So making plans and setting goals within that mindset, that chemistry, that biology, that resonance, it's not going to work very well, right? Because that was my old self. By contrast, these days at the moment, I don't even set goals, which is not to say that that's a bad thing for you to do. It's just because what I'm creating is so freaking enormous, huge, out of this world, ridiculous, but it lands in me with such power that I, again and again and again, that I know this is what I'm here to do. That it's like, I can't see A to Z. I'm here at A, and I know I don't even know B, but I know the next step that I take from A, and it's going to lead me to B somehow. That's all I know. So I can't make plans. I just take the next step, right? Not everybody's like that. Philippa, it's been ages. Lovely to see you, beautiful. So, you know, that's what goals and things are about, like for me, kind of non-existent. But for most people, for many, maybe not most, for many people, you have a concrete thing you want to do. You want to buy a house, you want to get a new job, you want to meet somebody wonderful, you want to create a community, you know, whatever it is you want to do, it's actually quite concrete. Or maybe you want to do a piece of art, but your art room is full of junk. Or you want to buy a new car, but it means you have to sell the old one, and it means you have to clean it up, you know. So there's very concrete things and steps to get from A to B. And so let's say that I wanted to build a business with 20 clients a week, and I wanted to have premises in town. You know, that's something concrete. You can take steps from there to there, right? But if I approach the steps about getting premises in town and advertising and finding clients and all that from the mindset that people don't want to pay me, they want me to deliver my stuff free, it's hard to get clients, it's scary, I don't have the money to do all this, which by the way was the reason why I didn't do it for like decades. Because, I mean, I did have responsibilities and things, and I needed to earn what I was doing. I was kind of stuck where I was because, you know, my husband had a major injury, and it was funny because he just couldn't get work, and I understand the wisdom of that at the time, but, you know, I was pretty much the breadwinner. He was working at home doing other things, but he wasn't making money. So I had all these good reasons why I couldn't do that entrepreneurial thing, and it was a good thing, really. But it was like, you know, I'm stuck. So I was thinking within the confines of who I was at the time and what I could see and what I knew about what was possible with what I could see. Pretty limited, okay? And actually, you know, maybe it wasn't good. Maybe if I had known what I know now, I am sure I would have done something different with it. But I didn't know what I knew now. I just knew what I thought I knew, and I was thinking within the boundaries of those apparent facts, my circumstances and my feelings. On the other hand, if I had been able to jump in a teleporter, which is what I do every day now, inside myself, you see, I'm entranced by who I can become when I get beyond my body, my and time and my environment. When I don't exist and I'm nowhere and no time, there's nothing and nobody there, I'm just awareness, I can be anything because I'm connected to everything. I can be whoever I want. I can create whatever I want. In that moment, in that space, it's all there. And I can have the experience ahead of it arriving in 3D. But because if it's novel, if it's new, and if I feel it like, oh my God, this is amazing, then jungles of neurons are going to string together in my brain. They're going to make a neurotransmitter. They're going to send chemistry to my body. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to change my epigenetics. And if it's powerful, I'm going to, you know, like that lake, that experience that I had, you know, I told you about yesterday. That's a long-term memory. I'm not going to forget that. And that changes you. So, you know, I do this every day. So if I was going to do that thing of getting 20 clients and having premises in town, and, you know, advertising and all that stuff, and I could be that, if I could plan that with the mind that I have when I am that limitless sea, and I am the unified field, and I am divine love, and I am limitless mind, and I am connected to all possibilities, I'm going to make my plans about how to get from where I am to where I want to be very, very differently, from a very different state of mind. And I'm going to feel differently about them. And if I can then at least remember and try to emulate that state of mind, because I can't spend the whole day in the unified field. That would be fun for a while, but eventually you got to eat and you got to do something. At least unless you're a hermit living on the top of a mountain, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But for me, that's not what I want to do. I'm here to create. So sooner or later, you got to come back to 3 dimensions and start executing stuff. Start demonstrating those behaviours that you've been rehearsing mentally, right? Christina, good morning. And become that. But if you know how it feels to be unlimited, to feel worthy to receive the business or the healing or the love relationship or the meaning for your life or whatever it is, to feel complete, to feel whole, and you live and breathe and move and act and speak and talk and decide and choose from that place as much as you can. It takes practice, and you're going to fall over and lose the plot. Hi, Kaya! Because that's part of the process. It's not going to be easy, because we get programmed with being limited and unworthy and afraid, and I can't do this, and it's too big, and I can't see how it's going to happen, therefore it's not happening, That's the dance. 1 foot in 3D, 1 foot in the quantum. That's what we're doing. And, but if I can remember when I'm in 3D what it feels like to be in the quantum, because I had a real experience, and remember, it took me a long time to start doing that, okay? So if you are starting to do this work, or whatever it is that you're doing to start to connect with these things that are beyond your current experience, if you can barely, bar a chocolate, I've used this before, if you can barely break off, just, scratch through the foil or the paper or whatever it is that's on one corner and just get a tiny little nibble of the sweetness on the corner, that's okay. You will in time break more of that open and get into more of the good stuff. But if you've spent, your entire life up till now never having tasted chocolate, and you don't know how to unwrap the wrapper, it might take you some time to even get over the fact that you're resentful and angry and sad and depressed and bitter about the fact that you've never tasted chocolate. That was me. Really. I can't freaking make money. Not what's wrong with me. It's like people just don't want to give me money. They're not ready for me. I'm too weird. They'll never get it. That turns out to be a load of rubbish. As soon as you stand up and actually become what you really are inside yourself, things are going to change. But you got to expect it to be a dance, because the old self, which is so much who you're used to being, thinks and feels and behaves a different way. So if I march off and do what I can do, step A and from a little bit towards B, in that space of I'm already there. I know how it feels to be this me because I've rehearsed it and I've practiced it. I have gone there. I have smelled the air in that place. I know who's with me. I know what I've achieved. I know how much money is in the bank. Well, actually, I don't give a shit how much is in the bank. I know how much I've been able to give. I know how many people I've impacted. I know that my house is repaired and it's lovely to live in. I know that, the things that I need to get done and to pay for are paid for, but that's not what it's about. I've had this impact. I've created this amazing thing. And I'm so in love with my life. I can barely breathe. My heart's bursting, Now, if I decide and choose and create from that space, it's entirely different to deciding and choosing and creating. Well, you can't create in that old space. Nobody wants to give me any money. It's completely different. It's so totally different. And so that's why when you make plans from a new state of mind, they are more likely to succeed. It's not enough to make their plans from the new state of mind, though. You then got to practice executing those plans from the new state of mind as well. That's the important thing, Having this transcendent experience saying, oh my God, this is who I am, this is what I can do. Great. Remember that feeling. And when it's dark, or you're tired, or you're pissed off, it's like, enough, I've had enough of this, which was me 2 days ago about particular things, which are now moving, because that's how it works. You get to the end of your emotional belief and just go, oh, screw it, whatever. And then, it starts to shift because you let go. Nothing works though. Nothing works if I'm in that small mind where life is just crappy and, I've tried for so hard, I remember I used to say, I broke my heart trying, and I did. I won't do that anymore. See, it's just the old self versus the new. So, and it takes practice, it takes time, you got to rehearse, you got to practice. Who am I going to be today? That's why I keep raving on, because I really understand this now. It took me a long time to understand that all I have to do is know who I'm being today. Just today. Just today. And if I can be who I'm choosing to be today, I'm probably going to think some new thoughts and have some novel experiences and make some new connections and have some new feelings and, and keep that process of change going. I was just reading in one of Joe's books yesterday, 90% of all the thoughts we think today are the same thoughts you thought yesterday. So how is anything really going to change? If thoughts give you chemistry, which give you feeling, and you have experience and you just do the same things and the same behaviours all the time. If you don't think new thoughts, if you don't make new choices, how's anything going to change? So you've got to jump in the teleporter, figure out who you are in your future, and then bring that future self back with you and start living as that person. And if you don't know that you want to build a business with 20 clients, premises in town, and you're going to do that, you may only know how you want to feel. And that's enough. Practice that feeling and live and plan and decide or just be or create or whatever it is you're doing from that feeling. It's enough. The three-dimensional how and what and where and when and who is going to find you. The important thing is to inhabit the state and create from there. Amazing. I'm actually running to time today. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. So much love. I'm looking forward to your comments. I'm not seeing any of them, which probably means an absolute storm of them. And Facebook said she doesn't want to see all that. Well, I kind of do, but it's probably good that I'm not distracted. Very much love. I will see you tomorrow. Big love. Bye-bye.